We unfortunately tend to tolerate bad acoustics, and in a space like this, if you're trying to communicate something, if you're teaching a class, or you're in a part of that class and you're trying to learn, or you have a group of people trying to communicate with each other, this amount of reverberation simply gets in the way. It requires more energy, it requires more work. People get tired, they lose focus. It's ultimately very unhealthy.
So as a training room, the room as it is right now would be really difficult to have presentations in because of the reverberation and the echo in the space, and it's loud.
This room feels really echoey and in a way uncomfortable. It would be hard to speak to a group, and I believe it would be hard to listen to someone speaking here.
In this space, right now we're speaking one-on-one, but if you add more people, all the other conversations would also start to echo, and it just gets worse and worse, and it echoes more, and it's just very distracting overall.
In a space like this, the goal is to reduce the reverberation in the room, which means we need to bring absorption in. And this is where dedicated acoustic products are useful. Everything has acoustic properties, everything has the ability to absorb reverberation, but it's the products that were engineered to do that can do that in a very significant way. So we'll take this room, we ran calculations on it ahead of time. We're going to do some measurements in it today, some acoustic measurements, and this will tell us precisely how much absorption we need to add to the room in order to bring the reverberation down to a target level. The measurements are showing that the reverberation time in the space is about 2 seconds at 1 kilohertz, and that's about what you'd expect in a concert hall, but not in a lecture room. There's always a little bit of delight for me, even after 20 years of being in acoustics, when I hear the change in a space like this. When I first walked into here, the change was remarkable. And it's still a surprise to me, even though I'm not supposed to be surprised by it. Before this installation, the room had a reverberation time of over 2 seconds at the frequencies that matter for the human voice. After the installation, that number was under 0.9 seconds. So we cut the reverberation time by more than 50%. And the goal for a room like this, where communication is important, is a reverberation time that's about 1 second or less. So we're right in the target.
So certainly the lighting is improved from the last time. Acoustically, huge improvement. The space looks more lively, the fixtures are more interesting, it's more appealing.
Before, we had 9 what would be acrylic fixtures that were hanging from the ceiling. Fairly industrial looking. We like that look. We've used that throughout other spaces in our building, but at the same time, we were looking for something that provided us a different aesthetic. So LightArt not only allowed us the opportunity to address the acoustical issues that we were experiencing, but also introduce some color and a little bit of variation, as you can see from the ceiling behind me.